The Undertaker, master of the Tombstone Piledriver and the phenom of professional wrestling. The man they call Sting, king of the Scorpion Deathlock and the franchise of WCW. Both are denizens of the dark and are known for being company loyalists, albeit for different brands. Fans have fiended for years to see these two pillars of the industry go one-on-one in a big stage bout with both of their characters in full glory. And although both men have shared brief periods of time in the same company, alas, this was never meant to be. That is, until now. Welcome to Dave Knows Wrestling's Dream Match, where I will finally analyze these two combatants by examining their virtues, their weaknesses, and their prospects for victory. Everything that will help us to best appropriate, calculate, and approximate who would and should get booked to go over in a big dream match booking. And today's episode is The Undertaker versus Sting. To determine who would win, I'll be looking at specific key factors. First, we'll be discussing a few highlight moments throughout both careers. Then, we'll narrow our focus down to one specific period of time when this dream match would hypothetically happen. And then finally, we'll analyze their win percentages to get a thorough evaluation of both men's probability to claim victory. So without further ado, on to the highlights. The Phenom has lived up to his reputation as being just that. Throughout his time in the Squared Circle, The Undertaker has survived being buried alive on multiple occasions. He has won the 2007 Royal Rumble and has made Mick Foley famous by throwing him off of the cell. Also, The Undertaker has gone toe-to-toe with some of wrestling's biggest names and beaten them. Top guys like CM Punk, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Hulk Hogan. And not only did he beat them, but he also managed to take titles off of all of them to boot. And speaking of championships, The Undertaker has won 7 tag team titles. He has a run as a hardcore champion, and he's captured the WWE World Heavyweight Championship 3 times and the WWE title itself 4 times. He's also been recognized by Pro Wrestling Illustrated for having the feud of the year in both 1991 and 2015, as well as Match of the Year in 1998, 2009, 2010, and 2012, as well as ranking as high as the second top singles wrestler in PWI's 500 in 2002. And of course, let's not forget about The Undertaker's famous WrestleMania winning streak. From his WrestleMania debut against Superfly Jimmy Snuka at WrestleMania 7, all the way to CM Punk at WrestleMania 29, The Undertaker has amassed 21 straight victories at the WWF's biggest show of the year. This feat is not just impressive, but it's fairly unique in the fact that there has never, ever been anything else like it, and probably will never be anything like it ever again. Now moving on to Sting. As WCW's franchise player, Sting has carried the company on his back for a number of years and has been well booked as compensation. Sting won the first ever Battle Bowl, been a member of both the Horseman faction and the New World Order, and has won both the European Cup and the Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Cup, as well as winning the King of Cable, Iron Man, and London Lethal Lottery Tag Team tournaments. Plus, he's also won the WCW United States Championship tournaments in both 1991 and 1995. Sting has also won the NWA World title twice, once for Jim Crockett Promotions and once for TNA. He has also won the TNA World Heavyweight title 4 times, the WCW International title twice, as well as holding the NWA Television title once, the WCW United States title twice, the WCW Tag Straps 3 times, the TNA Tag title once, and the WCW World Heavyweight Championship 6 times, not to mention being named Wrestler of the Year in 1990 by Pro Wrestling Illustrated and ranking number 1 in the PWI 500 in 1992, as well as being voted PWI's most popular wrestler in 1991, 1992, 1994, and 1997. And on top of all that, Sting is also a Hall of Famer for both TNA and the WWE. Alright, so now moving forward, when exactly will this bout be taking place? Well, this dream match would be fitting at a number of pay-per-views, like The Invasion. However, if I could only pick one event for this meeting of the macabre, it would have to be WCW's Halloween Havoc. And to further narrow it down, while there are many years in which this could work, from early in their careers when Sting started using the Tombstone while The Undertaker was known as Mean Mark, to WrestleMania 31 when both men were on the same show, but in different matches. However, if I could pick any one time for these two men to square off, it should be dark and it should be during a high point in both their careers. So I'm going with the year 1998. The Undertaker was feuding with his brother Kane, and Sting was coming off a year-long hiatus, having made his big return at the previous year's Starrcade. Put that together and we have the pinnacle time period for pugilistic possibilities. Alright, with the highlights covered and the venue set, it's time to look at the calculations.
Alright, Dr. Dave here. Now in singles competition, both men wrestled about the same amount of matches in 1998. The Undertaker with 22 matches and Sting with 23. However, Sting's overall win percentage for that year is around 60%, and The Undertaker is only at around 45%. But Sting has 6 pinfall victories and 3 submission wins, where The Undertaker has 9 pinfall wins and 1 win by setting his brother Kane on fire in an Inferno match, giving The Undertaker a solid 10 victories in singles competition in 1998. And you should probably also note that while Sting does have the higher win percentage, 5 of his wins did come by DQ, and thus he only has 9 solid victories in 1998, thus making this a much closer contest than it appears. But now onto the losing side of things. They both had the exact same number of losses with 6 apiece. However, Undertaker lost by pinfall twice and lost by being buried alive and by being put into a casket. Sting, in contrast to all that, lost twice by pinfall and once by technical knockout to Bret Hart, which makes these calculations very tough because while The Undertaker does have one more quality win over Sting, he also has one more quality loss.
Okay, it's finally time to process the results and find out who's getting booked for the victory in this epic fantasy dream match. The Undertaker versus Sting. And your winner is Sting. This was an extremely close match. While their win-loss records were fairly similar in 1998, it was their subtle differences that told the tale. For example, The Undertaker fought to twice as many no contests as Sting, who only had 3, proving that The Undertaker was not as good at closing the deal during that year. Furthermore, The Undertaker suffered a mostly clean loss to Stone Cold Steve Austin at SummerSlam, while Sting's 2 pinfall losses to Bill Goldberg and Randy Savage came at the hands of outside interference from Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash respectively, and his TKO loss to Bret Hart was only due to foul play. And while his loss to Bret Hart did occur at the actual Halloween Havoc in 1998, The Undertaker didn't do too much better during his October pay-per-view of Judgment Day, which he fought to a no contest. And in addition, I should also point out that The Undertaker very rarely uses cheap tactics to secure wins, and with this being on WCW soil, he would not have any of his usual allies such as Paul Bearer or Kane there to help him. And also, with this being WCW, The Undertaker would have no affiliation with Sting's normal rogues gallery, wrestlers such as Lex Luger, the Horsemen, or the NWO, thus giving Sting's enemies no real incentive to interfere. So with the only ways to take Sting down not being much of a factor in this match, it seems that The Undertaker just wouldn't be able to pull off this win. But now, even though The Undertaker might not be able to pick up the victory, how do we know that Sting would be able to come out on top himself? Well, let's just look at his finisher. While the Scorpion Deathlock is Sting's weapon of choice, and The Undertaker is not known to tap out, Sting only has 3 wins by submission in 1998. He has double that amount in pinfall victories, so in all likelihood, Sting wouldn't be counting on the Deathlock to take down the dead man. And we already know that The Undertaker can be pinned after a head trauma finisher in 1998. Furthermore, Mick Foley was a man billed as having more wins over The Undertaker than anyone else, and Sting defeated him at Beach Blast in 1992. And yes, The Undertaker does have the size and weight advantage, but at 6'2" and 250 pounds, Sting has the same attributes as previous Undertaker victor, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And lastly, throughout their entire careers overall, Sting has been a much more decorated champion. He has won gold in multiple companies and has consistently scored higher in PWI rankings, which is why the winner of this epic fantasy dream match booking is the man they call Sting.